Ladies and gentlemen, in this section of Trending Burning Question, we are going to focus on the big event 2 days from now, the 2024 budget. And ahead of the mega elections, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is all set to unveil her sixth, of course, an interim budget on February 1 at 11 a.m., setting the stage for the financial plan for the government until the new one takes over after general elections. The comprehensive budget for the fiscal 2024-25 will of course be presented in July, regardless of whether the incoming government is new or re-elected one. This also marks the conclusive budget of the second term of the Modi government. The officials involved in the budget formulation are currently in a lock-in period, as is the tradition, and strict confidentiality measures for the final document are being maintained. Here's a comprehensive report on what was presented in Budget 2019 and what you can possibly expect in 2024-1. Watch this report.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is all set to present her sixth budget. While this will be an interim budget, a full-fledged one will be presented after the Lok Sabha elections. The last interim budget was presented in 2019 by the then Finance Minister Piyush Goyal.
Madam Speaker, I rise to present the interim budget for the year 2019-2020.
The 2019 interim budget proposed substantial income tax relief for the middle class by increasing the exemption limit from 2.5 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees. The last interim budget also introduced the Pradhan Mantri Kisan scheme with an aim to provide direct income support to farmers, which was later also launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The standard deduction for salaried employees was increased from 40,000 rupees to 50,000 rupees, providing additional tax relief to the middle class. Gratuity limit was also doubled from 10 lakh rupees to 20 lakh rupees. The Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan scheme was introduced, offering a pension of 3,000 rupees per month for workers after the age of 60 in the unorganized sector. In a bid to provide sustained and focused attention towards development of fisheries, the government also decided to create a separate department. With merely hours to go for the budget presentation and keeping the last interim budget in mind, here's what to expect. In the post-pandemic era, the government has been steadily reducing the fiscal deficit to control debt. The target of 5.9% for the current fiscal year is likely to be met and further lowered to 5.3%. Significant progress in reducing the budget deficit is attributed to increased tax collection. With economic growth above 7%, positioning India as the fastest growing major economy, big focus will be on infrastructure spending. Experts say the government is likely to focus on increased financial support for farmers in the budget. In a bid to consolidate women voters, additional support measures for women is also expected to be a factor.
We also have an expectation that this will be a foundation of what budget there will be coming after the election, because we are quite confident that the government is there and the same government will be repeated. And we have seen several innovative and nice things happening in this government, and we wish to continue with the same.
The budget is likely to set the tone for the mega Lok Sabha elections, and all eyes are now on the big interim budget. Bureau Report for Republic Business.
Breaking news development, the Finance Ministry has said that India could become the world's third largest economy by 2027 with a GDP of $5 trillion. Even earlier, perhaps. The projections come ahead of the interim budget due to be released day after tomorrow. In a report released on Monday, the Finance Ministry has said that economy is poised to grow at or above 7% the fiscal 2024. India's fiscal year starts on April 1 and ends on March 31st. If it meets this year's target, it will be the third straight year of 7% GDP growth for India. For more, let's go to Rajat, my colleague from the business desk, with more details. Rajat, over to you. What more can you share about this Finance Ministry estimate?
So, Abhishek, the Finance Ministry's monthly economic review report that came yesterday talked about the India's growth forecast as far as FY24 is concerned and as far as FY25 is concerned. For FY24, the report threw light that India is going to grow above 7%, which was more than estimated, as RBI pegged India's growth rate in FY24 at 7%. And for FY25, they have said, and that's very important, that India is going to grow closer to 7% for FY25 as well. Also, we need to look into the other aspects of the report, which says under the reasonable assumptions, India is going to become third largest economy by 2027 and 7 trillion economy by 2030. So we also need to understand that Prime Minister Modi has also talked about that India becoming a developed economy by 2047. So this 27 and 2030 are the key milestones and the destinations in India's journey towards being one of the fastest growing, one of the developed economies by 2047. As far as Chief Economic Advisor Ananta Nageshwaran is concerned, he also said yesterday that India's growth story is going to be riding on the back of a like the domestic demand, robust domestic demand, some structural reforms that the government has taken in the last 10 years, ranging from the insolvency bankruptcy code, recapitalization of banks, and also cleaning the balance sheet of the banks. So there are structural reforms that has been taken by the government, and that is why we are expecting that India to become the fastest growing economy going forward in the fiscal 24 and 25 as well.
All right. Also, in fact, Rajat, we are getting these reports that the IMF, International Monetary Fund, has revised India's forecast upwards amid better than expected resilience in the domestic demand. IMF, in fact, has raised the growth forecast for India from 6.3 to 6.7% for the next fiscal. And this year, of course, is expected at 6.5%, Rajat, which essentially means, as K.R. Kumar Mangalam Birla said yesterday, it's looking like, wow, Indian economy seems to be living through a Goldilocks moment, and IMF endorsing it, Rajat.
Yes, Abhishek, you are rightly on point, and Kumar Mangalam Birla also said that it's the wow moment for the economy, and in fact, it's being reflected in the numbers that has just come in from the IMF's World Economic Update of hour ago, in which the IMF has raised the growth forecast for Indian economy from 6.3% to 6.7% for FY24, and for FY25 and FY26, they have forecasted that India is going to grow at 6.5%. So even if we grow at 6.5% for the next 2 fiscal year, we are going to be in a comfortable position to be the fastest growing economies in the world. So IMF has also said that this recovery and this growth is also on the back of the soft landing of the global economy in 2025. As inflation is easing out in the Indian economy, our fiscal, even our macros are looking good. So even IMF has highlighted in its report that India is going to have a robust growth in FY24, that is 6.7%, on the back of a robust demand from the domestic demand and private consumption and the structural reforms that has happened in the last 4 years. So, well, this is one of the good news that we are hearing, that the growth forecast just 2 days ahead of the budget, Abhishek.
Absolutely.